Have you ever felt a strange kind of exhaustion? It's not the kind you get from doing nothing. It's the exhaustion that comes from doing everything, from giving it your all, and still feeling like your life isn't moving an inch. You're not lazy. You're not careless. You aren't wasting your days away. You wake up tired, push through the entire day, handle all your responsibilities, and then fall into bed knowing you gave it effort. But when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, your life looks exactly the same as it did a year ago. The same stress, the same worries, the same conversations you have with yourself over and over. And that's when the frustration starts to turn into something much heavier. It turns into doubt. You start asking questions you never wanted to ask yourself. Am I falling behind? Did I miss something that everyone else seems to have figured out? Why does it feel like I'm running and running, but not arriving anywhere? This is the part of life nobody prepares you for. We're all taught how to work hard. It's drilled into us from a young age. But no one ever teaches us how to recognize when that hard work stops serving us. So, what do? We keep pushing. Not because it's working, but because the idea of stopping, of changing course, feels even scarier. But here's what most people don't realize. Feeling stuck is rarely about a lack of effort. It's usually about a combination of direction, timing, and patience, all colliding at once. Let's talk about timing for a second. Some phases of life just don't reward your effort immediately. They store it. They bank it for later. You show up every day. You make sacrifices. You learn lessons that don't pay you today, but they're building a version of you that can handle so much more later on. The problem is that delay messes with your head. Because when you put in effort without getting any feedback, it feels like failure. It feels like you're doing something wrong, even when you aren't. I came across a story online from a woman, not famous, not viral, just incredibly honest. She talked about working 2 jobs throughout her 20s and still feeling broke, lost, and embarrassed. To everyone around her, she looked like she was doing well because she was always so busy. But inside, she felt completely stuck, like her life was on pause while everyone else's was moving forward at lightning speed. So what changed for her? It wasn't quitting. It wasn't a stroke of luck. It wasn't some sudden burst of motivation. It was a fundamental shift in how she measured her own progress. She stopped asking herself, how hard am I working? And she started asking, what am I building that will actually last? She began to cut down on the distractions that gave her temporary relief but had no future value. She stopped spending money just to feel normal or keep up with her friends. She stopped trying to impress people who weren't going anywhere themselves. Nothing flashy happened overnight. But 6 months later, she noticed her stress levels were lower. A year later, she had more options. 2 years later, she had leverage. The outside world didn't notice the change right away, but she did. And that was what mattered. That's the uncomfortable truth about progress. It often feels completely invisible while it's happening. And our modern world makes this so much worse. Social media shows us everyone's highlight reels without showing the timelines. People flex their amazing results without showing the years of confusion, doubt, and struggle that got them there. This constant comparison makes patience feel like a weakness. So when your life feels stuck, your brain naturally jumps to the wrong conclusion. I must be doing something wrong. But sometimes the truth is much simpler and a lot harder to accept. You're in a phase where your growth is happening underground. It's like the roots of a massive tree forming deep in the soil, long before the tree itself shows any height above the ground. This is the phase that truly tests your discipline. It tests your self-trust. It tests whether you'll keep going without any applause or external validation. Most people don't fail here, they quit mentally. They keep working, but they stop believing it will lead anywhere. They show up physically, but they check out emotionally. They settle into survival mode and start calling it reality. And that's how potential slowly, quietly dies. But here's the shift that can change everything for you. Being stuck doesn't mean you should stop. It means you need to reassess, but without the self-hate and criticism. It means asking yourself a different set of questions. Questions like, is my effort creating future value, or is it just maintaining my current comfort? Am I learning something transferable, or am I just repeating the same year over and over? Am I protecting my energy, or am I giving it away too cheaply to people and things that don't matter? Am I being patient with the process, or am I desperately rushing the outcomes? These questions don't give you instant relief, but they do give you clarity. And clarity is what turns stagnant effort into real momentum. So if you're working hard right now and you still feel stuck, please don't shame yourself for it. Don't try to rush your timeline just because it looks different from someone else's, and don't numb the frustration. Use it. Because this phase, as uncomfortable and confusing as it feels, is often the exact stretch of time that separates the people who just survive from the people who eventually build something solid and meaningful. One day, without any warning, things will start to move. Not because you suddenly started working harder, but because all of that quiet, unseen, underground effort finally has somewhere to go. And when that happens, you won't feel lucky, you'll feel prepared. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more videos like this. See you in the next one.